Hello everyone, welcome to Real Reds Talk and welcome to a wonderful surprise. I have Mr. Aaron Gregory alongside me, which makes a nice change from me flying solo in the afternoon. So he's on gardening leave, much like Dan Ashworth is. How are we doing, Aaron? Did you watch the games last night by any chance?
No, I didn't actually. Obviously I had like stuff going on with work, so by the time the day had just chilled, I got the little into bed, and then I don't even know what I did with my evening, to be honest. But no, I seen that PSG went through.
Yeah, the games in itself, mate. Honestly, the PSG
Yeah, I
game and
need
the
to catch
Dortmund
the
game,
highlights.
mad, utter madness. And that obviously for people who've already saw the thumbnail and the title, that is going to be one of the main talking points of today. You don't have to watch the game because we're going to talk about Sabitzer and Sancho specifically, and there's a couple of interesting quotes as well from Sabitzer on the manager, which I've never seen before. Usually these aggregators on Twitter, they catch everything and they put everything out, quotes from players and things like that. But yeah, a really interesting quote from Sabitzer, which we'll touch on in a moment. But we've also got updates on Anthony Martial's future, which I'm sure Aaron's very excited to get into. We're going to discuss Potter and Zerbi as the front runners for the United job if Erik ten Hag was to lose it. And we've got some interactive stuff towards the end as well, which is guess the football player by his career path. And we're going to do that towards the end. So make sure you stick around. Make sure you get your comments in and smash a like on the video for us, you absolute legends. Now, last night, Aaron, Sabitzer got an assist and the winning goal against Atletico Madrid, see Dortmund through to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Just a quick one before I get into the quotes and stuff like that. First and foremost, what have you made of Sancho at Dortmund? And second of all, what did you make of Sabitzer's time whilst he was at United?
Regarding Sancho, I can only go off what I've seen on Twitter. I've not watched a lot of Dortmund games, but he seems to have his confidence back at least. I watched something before actually, and it was like, oh, where was this Sancho at Old Trafford? And he was taking players on, and he was skinning players. I
suppose the better question for you though, Aaron, is does that warrant a future at United for a couple of decent cameos?
No, I don't think there's a way back at United, especially if Ten Hag's there. I think that's a no-go straight away. But I do want him to do well. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, like fans have especially like Twitter fans, like some happens and there's just a hatred for a player, isn't there? Like, I'm not really like that. It's what it is. It's business at the end of the day. But we need to think of his sell value, and that's what I've got in mind. That he has a good cameo now for Dortmund. He keeps producing, especially in the Champions League on a big stage. And, we're going to have some sort of sell value for that. If he was sat in the reserves or weren't even around the squad, we would probably get like half what we maybe can get for him now.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope he does well. I hope that, he has success. I don't know what his stats are like. I know Twitter can manipulate things to little highlights, like a 30-second clip, but he could have just done that all game, and then there's nothing else.
Just on that, someone did that exact thing last night. So they put a clip on from Sancho, like he skinned a couple of people in Dortmund's half. So he weren't even in the offensive side. It was in Dortmund's half. And people
is that where he went through like the middle of two of them?
Yeah, I think so, something like that.
Yeah.
But then the clip after it shows, I think he either loses the ball or he misplaces a pass after it. So it's like it's all about context, and these kind of guys. And I'll mention one of them because he does my head in. Saeed, everyone will know who it is on Twitter, man. This guy is like the most anti-Ten Hag, anti-United player like I've ever seen in my life. And he was bigging up Sancho, and he was bigging up even Sabitzer as well, saying, oh, look, it was something along the lines of, oh, he's playing, look, he's not playing Sabitzer as a 6. What was we doing? We never played Sabitzer as a 6. He was always the 8, really, when he played for us. And again, people have short memory. Like, for all those kind of trolls who were saying, we missed him, and look what he's doing now, he's at Dortmund. He joined in January, and he missed 8 games, I think it was, due to injury, and had 1 assist in the league. So he didn't exactly light it up for United. I think a lot of people kind of looked at it in the light of like Weghorst almost. It was kind of a stopgap with Sabitzer, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what? I was excited though when we signed him because
same.
I did watch a lot of like Leipzig, in the Champions League, and I think wasn't it 2 years in a row, or we got them in the Champions League? We got them quite a bit, didn't we? We had a period where we came up against them, and I think he was captain for Leipzig then, and he always looked impressive, and he scored some bangers. And he was good at free kicks and that. And I remember thinking, well, we might have a player here.
Yeah.
But I don't think he did badly at United. I just think we all said it really in the group chat and on shows that he would have a good game, and then the next game you don't even know he's on the pitch. Like we didn't really know what his place was or his role was. It kind of drifted through games sometimes. But yeah, I think he had like an average time at United. Wasn't the worst player we've had. Definitely not the best. But now I'm happy to see him. I've always thought he was a good player. I didn't think Bayern was the right step for him at the time because that midfield kind of picks itself. We all know that. But no, I think we need to put into perspective what league they're playing in as well, and the confidence they'll get from playing in that league. Like, especially Sancho. The people are saying, why aren't you doing that in the Prem? Yeah, because he's probably not got Kyle Walker like to be running at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the wing backs, the quality of wing backs are just way off in comparison to the Premier, and the intensity and the speed and the kind of athleticism that you need off the ball as well with all these teams. Like, it's gone from almost a technical game to an athletic game, and it like you're pressing off the ball. As much as Foden and Bernardo Silva and all these guys get praise for how good they are on it, how hard they work off the ball is one of the main reasons why Pep plays them as well. Like, equally, you have to have hand in hand with both, and I don't think Jadon Sancho necessarily has both. Just an interesting quote from Sabitzer, the one that I mentioned before about Erik ten Hag. I thought, so I'll just read it out for you and just get your reaction on it. He said, you can this is on ten Hag, you can wake him up at 3 a.m. He'd tell you his whole match plan by heart. He's very knowledgeable about football and tactics, a very hard worker, a perfectionist, and he's very straight with you. When I had a bad game, he showed me some situations and told me how to do it better next time. I like that. You knew where you stood with him. He never threw you under the bus. Instead, he told players to go out and do better in the next game. I learned a lot about football working under him. He's a very good coach, which is interesting, isn't it? Because it's a bit misty with Ten Hag at the moment, isn't it? Like, you look at the way we're trying to play, he doesn't look like a coach. This sounds harsh, but he doesn't look like a coach who knows what he's doing, does he? Like, he's almost like stubborn to pivot away from what we're doing at the moment.
Yeah, and to say like how methodical he is. The way we're playing now is a methodical manager's nightmare because there's no structure to it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't look like we've been drilling anything over and over. But I'm sure Sabitzer's come out a few times and spoke about Ten Hag. I'm sure, and he was always positive about him. And obviously Weghorst spoke highly of him, but Weghorst had never played at that level. Like,
Weghorst is always going to do it, mate. That was like his swan song, wasn't it, or whatever?
Yeah, he was just happy to be there. But I don't think Ten Hag, like, he's not a bad manager. He's not. Like, some people are going on like, oh, he's a fraud. He's been found out at United, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if it's his style doesn't suit the Prem, or he's naive in the way he's approaching his tactics, but something's off. Something's definitely off. Personnel, I understand, but I kind of always counter that with Klopp had Liverpool with that team with like Skirtle, Kolo Toure, that Markovic, you know what I mean? But they were all playing his like brand of football. Arteta did it when he came into Arsenal, where they were calling for his head, but you could see what he was doing, and you knew if they had give him time and investment. So I don't know. I'm conflicted on Ten Hag in terms of, I wouldn't be mad if we gave him more time and let him next season, but I wouldn't be mad if he went also.
Are you saying you're on the fence, Aaron? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because I can see both ways. I can see that he's probably got some credit in the bank from last season, but we can't continue like that. And the ruthless side of me, that Avinios coming in and ripping the whole thing up, I think maybe we've had this thing at United now where it seems like a hangover all the time from previous that we've never like kind of got rid of. So if the players go and the manager go in, I know obviously we can't sell everyone at once, but you know, if maybe like a statement like Rashford went, you know what I mean? The ruthless side of me thinks Ineos should just come in and clean it all out, but I don't know. I'm happy to see what happens.
The big question for me, and make sure you get your comments in, everyone. I'm going to go through them very shortly. The question for me is, why does he expect like limited players to carry out his instructions? That's the main error, because the way we're playing does not suit a lot of the players that we have currently. So why not be pragmatic? Why not switch it up? Why not? It's a results business, and he always alludes to that. So I get you want to implement your style and you want to stick to it no matter what. But when you're conceding 31 shots against Bournemouth, against Brentford, 20 odd shots against Bournemouth, 20 odd shots against Luton, like the most in the league, just behind Sheffield United, who are breaking records for all the wrong reasons. It doesn't make sense logically. So I'd love to speak to him in person and just say, do you think this style is sustainable going forward? Do you think this is the best way to get results, and why do you think that? Because every other fan can see it. You know, we're not just seeing it like a reactionary thing. We're watching the games, and you can tell it ain't working. We're trying to go toe to toe, and it just isn't working against teams near the bottom of the table. So what's the plan for next season? You know, he's talking about like having players available, and that's something I've used for the majority of the season because I like Ten Hag, and I've sat there and I've said, look, he's not got Leach available, he's not got Shaw available, and the valid excuses to a certain point. Neville made a great point saying that against Bournemouth, 8 of the 11 players would be starting. Who's the best front three? Garnacho, Højlund, Rashford. That's who's going to play, right?
Yeah.
The midfield, Casemiro, Kobe, Bruno. They all played. And then the back line, Dallow's always going to start, Onana's always going to start in net, and then it's bit 3 basically. You got Shaw, Lissandro, and Varane. So is it really warranted an excuse?
That's what I mean. I feel like that excuse only takes you so far because, you know, like I've just said, you use the tools you've got and you play to your strengths. I mean, like, you know, that's why I know it's different end of the scale, but that's why Sam Allardyce is so effective to come into a relegation side, because he comes in, first thing you work on, defend, and you go from there. And he knows that the teams he goes into can't play free-flowing football. They're probably going to have to try and get a scrappy like set piece or counter attack because he knows his players can't play that. He's at the lower end of the table. I don't know if you watched recently the newest episode of Stick to Football with the Burnley part owner.
Yeah, JJ something, is it?
Yeah, and he said, didn't he, that Burnley, well, at the start of the season, we doubled down. No, we're not changing our style of play. That we're going to die on our sword. And then they got to a point and realised, no, we have to change.
Yeah.
And I feel like Ten Hag's still not got to that point, and we're getting like to the end of the season, and he's probably not going to get to. So it's like next season, do we go into that playing a whole style that hasn't worked for a full season? Or do we switch it up just in one summer, which I find hard to believe that we'll be trying to then implement a new style over another season. Yeah,
and you look at other managers around. That's why I tried playing like devil's advocate with Chivy and Sam yesterday on the show, and I said, you know, look at Arteta. He finished 8th, 6th, 3rd, I think it was, and then challenged for the title a couple of times, and then bottled it both times. So then equally, does a man deserve patience and time? Like, does he deserve 6 months under Ineos, under a new umbrella, to show what he's capable of? Because there'd always be that question then, if you do go get a Potter or Zerbi, which we'll discuss in a minute, what if, in it? Like, what would he have done under there? And I think maybe that's what Ineos are thinking as well. It's like, look, it's going to cost a lot of money, first and foremost, to get rid of Ten Hag, probably about 10 to 15 million quid. I think De Zerbi in himself at Brighton's got a massive kind of payout thing that you have to pay, another 10, 15 million quid. Then you've got transfers on top of that. We haven't got Champions League football. So even from a financial perspective, it's not really valid or warranted to do that, is it? Like, you're going to struggle regardless. But just give us your thoughts on the managers that are strongly linked at the minute in Potter and De Zerbi. Do any of them kind of push the boat out for you?
No. Potter, nah. Feel like he needed that stepping stone club from when he went to Brighton to Chelsea. I feel like he needed a middle, like a Tottenham maybe, or a Villa, someone along them lines. And he looked. I don't think Chelsea was ever the right fit for him, but he was out of his depth. Like he struggled. The Zerbi, I like the style of football, but again, in a big club, and I know that Liverpool looked at him, and by all reports were put off by his temperament and the way he handles certain situations and higher ups, and so is that going to work at United, where Ineos are probably going to have like a lot of control over, say, like scouting and the style that we play? And I don't know how that's going to work, because I feel like Ineos are going to be very hands-on. I feel like Ten Hag's going to have to adapt to that as well. That some of the control is going to be taken out of his hands. But I probably wouldn't be looking at either of the two. I feel like De Zerbi needs the next step up as well. Yeah, go on. You was going to say something.
No, yeah, I was just going to say, do you think obviously trophies is a big factor in it? It's kind of one of those red flags in the sense where I don't think De Zerbi's not won much to my knowledge. Graham Potter likewise has only won a Swedish Cup. So if you have a manager right now who's taken Ajax to the Champions League semi-finals, overachieved in that sense, he's won the Eredivisie title multiple times and multiple cups in the Netherlands as well, and he's gone in there and can't command respect. Do you expect someone like a Graham Potter to walk in and Marcus Rashford is going to be like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's going to be hard, isn't it?
It's and even someone like Xabi Alonso, I know he's won the league, but if he hadn't won the league and say we brought him in, I feel like he would still have that more, because you know what he's done as a player, and I know that's different from a manager, but they'll have that respect for him, that this guy's won Champions Leagues at Real Madrid.
Like an Ancelotti, for example, who comes in and it's like, yo, like, whoa.
Yeah, this guy's got like some weight in what he says and that. I don't know. At the minute, I don't think they're the right fit. Maybe in a few seasons, De Zerbi might move to somewhere and he wins a big trophy, or he sustains the level and pushes Brighton up to a point where they're at a point where the next step up is a top six club. But yeah, for what we need now, if Ten Hag's going, we need someone that's going to hit the ground running. No, there's going to be a rebuild, but none of this. We might finish like 10th or.
That's the hard selling it really to fans to say like, oh, we're gonna have another 3 years, 4 years of like we've been sold this fucking 3 or 4 times in the past.
That's what I mean. Them 3 or 4 years every time start mounting up to 10+ years like it has now, and it's like there's only so many projects you can believe in before you're not seeing no results. So that I feel like if Ten Hag does go, the next manager has to come in and it has to go right, because we're all getting sick of it now. And Ineos have got this chance to either support Ten Hag and push us onto the next level, or bring someone in and say, right, this is what we do now. This is big. Dave Brailsford talks about marginal games, and Ineos are like, in cycling they've been successful and stuff like that. We expect that now at United. So if you bring someone in, you're bringing someone in to, this is going to be it now. We're going to push on. We're going to start winning things. We're going to start competing. We can't have another rebuild of like 4 years.
Yeah, their job is to be ahead of the curve, isn't it? To look at it and bring that guy in, and there's no guarantee that they're going to do that. Like a lot of people talk about Ineos and how positive they are and everything they're saying. That's all well and good, but that does not guarantee success, especially in how competitive the league is at the minute. You look at Liverpool, Arsenal, City pushing each other this year to try and get involved in that mix. I mean, we're 21 points off Liverpool, I think, at the moment. 21 points. That's a lot of ground to cover up. So you're talking years even still, even if everything goes to plan, you're talking years, which is crazy. We've got loads and loads of people joining. Make sure you smash that like button on the channel and drop us a subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. We're on 4,760 subs at the minute, so we're 40 away from 4,800, which is amazing. So please do hit the sub if you haven't done it already. Ashid Mia says Dan Ashworth deal will get done eventually. It's a complicated deal to do, but it will get done hopefully. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stuff about that. Good stuff in terms of the summer. Speaking of Ashworth, Sam says, Aaron, how's your garden?
Yeah, it's looking great.
Looking good. Yeah, we'll get some pictures in later. Make sure you stick around for the interactive stuff as well. We've got guest a player by his career path, and that's going to be towards the end of the show. So do stick around and get involved, because it's always nice to have people interacting. True Cushman says, with how we've been performing this season, I'm not giving him another season. That's a fair point. Lucky Singh says, I am trying to get Dan Ashworth deal done. I mean, good luck with that one. Dino Lewis says, give Eric Ten Hag until the end of the next year. Everyone moaned about the same players for being crap before Eric Ten Hag came in. He did it after the first and second game last year. We don't play his style. He even said that we ain't got the players. No matter what team we put out against Bournemouth, Luton, Burnley, Sheffield, we should dominate them even with team B or C. I do definitely agree with that. I think the quality of players that we had at Bournemouth, regardless of who was missing, you should go out there and beat them, because is it Areola, the Bournemouth manager?
Yeah.
You can see his tactics, how he wants to play, and he's getting the best drop out of every individual player, regardless of the valuation. I mean, their team's probably worth about, 30 mil or something, 40 mil? And he's showing better football on the pitch than Eric Ten Hag is. So that is a serious concern for me, at least. So what about the style of Potter and De Zerbi, though? Is that something, like, forget the manager, forget him coming in at United, would you prefer to watch that kind of football?
Well, definitely how De Zerbi's got Brighton playing. They play very good football, some of the best football probably to watch. But I'm always conflicted on, like, it's all right doing it with Brighton.
Yeah.
Like, all respect to Brighton, obviously the way that they run their club and that is, like, for their level and what the budget they have is perfect. Their scouting is probably some of the best in the league. But United's a different beast. And, you have different egos at United, and, like people have said about players haven't been good enough, down tools a lot. You have to be a certain character. I feel like that's equally as important at a big club, the character.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just not sure. I just don't know enough about his character in a big club to, like, there's a reason why Liverpool have backed off on him. They've seen something that they don't like, obviously.
But when you look at Klopp, Aaron, when you look at Klopp, because he's quite a fiery and controversial character, and it can go the other way with a club like Liverpool in that sense. That's why it surprised me a little bit why they didn't go for him. But like you said, maybe it's something that we don't know. It's kind of an unknown thing.
Yeah. And personally, they're my favourite type of managers. Then, like Klopp. It pains me to say it, but I'd have loved him at United because
absolutely, because he gets the fans in. It's like the Sandro on the pitch. He gets the fans. He's passionate. Like, everyone loves that, regardless.
And I love what it does for a team. Like, that they'll fucking run for a brick wall for him. Like, all of them Liverpool players they'd run till they couldn't run anymore for Klopp.
Yeah.
And United had that. Fergie was different in, like, probably wasn't as emotional on, but he commanded a lot of respect, and there was more of a fear factor, I feel, with Fergie. But the players would give everything, and going back to, like, the overlap where Roy Keane said, didn't he, that he wouldn't shout at you in that, but it's just a disappointment. The look he'd maybe give you, or like a shake of the head, and he said you'd feel absolutely, like, horrible.
It always felt worse, didn't it? If you ever get shouted at by parents, like your mum or your dad or whatever, and they'd go, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I'm disappointed.
That would always be...
that one,
yeah, that would always be the killer blow. And it's almost like that. I get what you're saying there with Fergie. Just look at you, and you just know. Like, I love that Tottenham story where he goes, he didn't do no tactical kind of thing, or he walked in the dressing room, and he went, it's Tottenham, lads, come on. And they all went, fucking hell, yeah, like, let's go out there and let's do the job. But it takes years to get that kind of authority done. It takes years of winning and proven records to do that. And I think that's why Ten Hag's slightly struggling at the minute, because his methods aren't producing results. If we was winning, it's a lot easier to turn around and say, look, we've won that game, we've won this game, won this game. What I'm doing is right, so you should follow suit. That's where the big mix is for me at the minute.
And I feel like it's always easier. Your job's always easier when you're winning, as in even terms like the players will be happy, they'll be on side.
Yep.
You're not getting results, the players are going to start looking at you going like what do you know type thing, like it's obviously not working. He's in a hard position at the minute. I'd really like, stuff coming out recently like Garnacho on Instagram, right, and Twitter. No, I did not expect that, because Ten Hag's the one that's really like give Garnacho a chance and pushed him, and the summit must be off. Right?
Well, we put some out on YouTube Shorts before, but the clip should be out at the moment, and it's about players on social media. Like you mentioned, Garnacho liking Goldbridge's tweet. Like, of all people, Goldbridge, who rubs people the wrong way anyway and is a controversial figure within the fan base, that's never going to do anything good, first and foremost. Amad Diallo putting cryptic emojis and liking certain tweets about game time. Marcus Rashford doing interviews with Players Tribunal and putting stuff out on social media as well. Jadon Sancho, the whole situation with him. Like, it seems to be almost an epidemic, don't they, of like young wingers who are almost going against the grain a little bit.
And then don't forget, obviously, him and Ronaldo clashed when Ten Hag came in. It's like, I don't know, and it's like to a point where, there was Mourinho went through a stage where, he was a good manager, but he had a bit of a reputation where he always seemed to fall out with a big player, and that's why you'd only get 3 years at a club, because in the last year it would all start to go a bit south. Like, there was a certain have you seen the end of his time at Real Madrid? I'm sure there's a video and he's stood in a hallway and Ronaldo and someone else are there, and like you can just on the video you can just feel the atmosphere. Like they won't look at each other. Ronaldo stood there with his arms crossed, like looks like he's fuming. Yeah. Mourinho's just like, and they're across from each other, but they just won't speak to each other. And it's like, you upset players rightfully, or like whether it's wrong or it's right in the way that you're doing things, but if you upset enough of them, it's going to make your job harder, and it's going to get to a point where players, there's obviously cliques in the dressing room. I think everyone says that, there's certain groups like, and if you upset enough of them, obviously I know Sancho, Rashford are very close. I don't know, Garnacho and Amad might be, they might have been supporting each other there on Instagram. Like, he might have upset Garnacho and Amad's like, nah, I'm backing my boy type thing.
Yeah.
You upset enough players and the results aren't going right, and it will just turn like that. And I feel like Ten Hag's in that predicament now where I feel like it's on him a little bit to change something, like we discussed before. Like, he has to do something. I'm not entirely sure he's lost the dressing room, because I feel like Bruno, I know he's playing poor at the minute, but he still gives his all. Yeah. There's still players there that look like they're trying, and under Ollie at the end, it looked like they weren't trying. Under Ranić, it never looked like we were trying. So there's still performances there where it looks like we're trying, but I don't know.
There's a couple of concerning things, isn't there? You look at like the comments from Dallo after the game where he's saying we're leaving too much of a gap in midfield and we're not defending right. We're kind of defending too deep. And Casemiro was saying like he can't sleep at night because
So is it the players are now that maybe they don't have an issue with the manager, but maybe aren't believing in his tactics?
Yeah.
I feel ultimately, like it's to that point.
That's everything, isn't it? Because if you're not winning games, then the players don't want to be there. I do think there was an argument with Casemiro. I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here, but it's fine. I do feel like Casemiro has fell off, in my opinion. I think his legs have completely gone. And Chivy disputes the fact that it's the system and the way we're playing, and maybe there is something involved in that. But I'm watching him in games where the passes, it's like he can't be asked. Sometimes he just gives a silly pass away, like against Chelsea did it, and I'm watching it, I'm like, he looks like who was it, Jamie Redknapp, who said he looks like he's playing Soccer Aid. That was
Yeah,
like the perfect analogy because he just does. It looks like his head's already in Saudi. So I don't know what the crack is. Again, I don't. A lot of us don't know what's going on behind closed doors. If they've already been told about the future or they already know and they're planning. It just again at the same point, like every single manager has struggled with certain individuals in that team. So that's where it the balance kind of comes back to Ten Hag a little bit, where you're like, well, maybe just get rid of the players first before you start getting rid of the manager, and then
yeah.
see what we can cook up. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I think in my ideal situation, like I was saying before, I would like Ineos to come in and rip it all up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of at that point now where I feel like there's a handful of players that I'd be upset if they left, and they're like younger players really. And I'm not really upset if the manager goes now. But it's all a balance because, like I say, you can't get rid of everyone. And if you're going to still have them same players that aren't going to commit under Ten Hag, are they just like going to do it again like they have under Ollie, under Ranić? So I think we're in a tough spot at the minute. Like Ineos have got a big job as in terms of, you know, they need to identify what needs to go first.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the players who's on that chopping board is one of your favourite players, Aaron, and Anthony Martial. We are going to get into the interactive stuff after this, so just bear with us. But yeah, Anthony Martial, apparently this is, again, probably nonsense, but it's a journalist has reported it, so we're just going to discuss it. Tottenham are interested in signing Anthony Martial on a free transfer this summer once his Man United contract expires. Juventus have also made contact with Martial's camp. Now, the reason... I know how you feel on Martial anyway, but the reason why I call it absolute nonsense in the first place is because I personally don't get why any club on the planet, especially in the Premier League, would go anywhere near him with his injury list. And I was looking at his injury list before, right? So in the past 2-3 years, you ready for this? There's just separate injuries that he's had. Groin surgery, hip injury, back injury, Achilles tendon, hamstring injury, muscle injury, knee injury, fitness, torn knee ligaments, hip injury, influenza. That's in the past 2 to 3 years that he's had. You can't tell me any club's looking at that in it and saying like, yeah, come on board, Anthony. We want you as a regular striker in our team.
Yeah, that's when I seen it before on Twitter that Tottenham were looking at him, and I was thinking, surely not. Like I'm the same with you. Like I don't think any Prem team really is going to look at him unless you're someone like, you know, Burnley. I don't even know if Burnley would. Like, you know, they need players that are gonna produce and be there week in, week out. For them, they were fighting to get back in the Prem or to stay. They need some players to be counting on, and I just feel like he's going to be in a predicament now where it's going to be hard to find a club because, you know, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not ready to like suit up week in, week out, it's not even week in, week out. Like, you know, some players like Varane, Ledley King was famous for it. Couldn't play 2 games in a row.
Yeah,
he can't play about. I don't know. He plays once every few months, if you're lucky.
Yeah, he's crazy to think he's been here 9 years, isn't it? One of the longest serving players at the club, just behind Luke Shaw, I think it is. 9 years, and he can't run a game for 20 minutes, or he's quite literally like your nana's china plates. Like he's so fragile.
Yeah,
he can't, you know, there's no sustainability in it whatsoever. That's why I just think that the story is absolute nonsense. I think his best bet actually is probably to go MLS or Saudi or something like that. That's like the only way you are going to get regular football, and the intensity is going to be no way near the Premier League. And I think there's times when Martial's had really good seasons at the club, but there's the times where we've spoken about so much season in, season out. Is he going to be this guy? Is he going to turn into the player we think he is? Is he going to do this? And it's just never happened. It's never come to fruition. He's always had difficulties with certain strikers coming in, Zlatan, Cavani, Ronaldo, Lukaku. Like, it's always been an issue for him. But it's undeniable that season he had under Ole, he was really good. Like,
yeah, he was
really good.
The whole forward line that lockdown season were unreal. But he's never really hit the heights of that season again. I think I had a look. Let me get it up here.
Yeah, it's almost like your reputation. It only goes so far, doesn't it? After like that, that lockdown season was 4 years ago or something.
I remember when I first came on the channel. Jim were having that debate over Martial.
Oh yeah,
and he was saying to me, you know, like, oh, watch, like Yeah, that's it. He's had in the 9 seasons or whatever he's been here, only 3 seasons he's scored double figures like that. That's in itself is like for a United striker ain't acceptable for me anyway. Like Lukaku had better numbers.
Yeah. No, you're right, and I think the majority of people would probably agree, and will probably agree it's time for him to move on, which he is going to do in the summer. I'm pretty sure, along with a load of other players. So that's why it's interesting to see what happens with certain ones. We are going to move on to interactive stuff now, so get ready to type in, get on the keyboards on your iPad, whatever it is you're watching on, and get involved. So I'm going to put the first image up on the screen. This is guess the player by his career path, and I've made it a little bit more difficult because, like I've said multiple times, every time I put it off, you always smash it. So I'm trying to make it more and more difficult until we get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm going to struggle a little bit with this one. So I don't know if you can see it on the screen, Aaron. Just popped it on now. Nice little. I don't say this is a super difficult level, but I would put it up there like it's not a given. So it's quite hard. But if you just if you know it, just keep it to yourself for the moment, and let's see if people can get it in the chat.
Right. Yeah, it's on my screen now.
Let us know what you think or what your thoughts are. So
see, I'm looking straight away. United, Arsenal,
Rennes, Inter, Man United, Arsenal, Werder Bremen, Portland Timbers, and then don't ask me what that last club is because I don't have a fucking clue. No idea. Any ideas? Anyone in the chat? Who is this United? It's a United player. All of them are United players, by the way. Let me know what you think. Who you think it is? Any guesses at all? And if you want any clues, let me know.
1 second. Let me just. I'm putting it full screen on my laptop, so I don't see nothing in the chat. Well, I'm guessing by the first club, he's got to be French.
He is French, correct.
See, I'm thinking now United Arsenal players. Obviously, it's not Welbeck, it's not Mkhitaryan.
Usually people are quite quick in the chat to put it in there. I think a few more people are struggling with this one, which is good. I like a little bit of difficulty. That's what we want.
It's the Inter Milan that's throwing me off.
Like, I didn't know he played for Inter Milan.
I know if we signed from Inter Milan.
What I would have got it off is the United Werder Bremen. French United Werder Bremen. That's how I would have got it. I imagine it would have taken me a while, but yeah, if you want any other clues, let me know.
There's no one recently, like real
correct.
Recently.
Yeah, that's correct.
I'm trying to go back now. I think I know who it is. Do you want me to wait for the chat or?
Well, I don't think anyone's getting it in the chat at the minute. People, it's very, very quiet in there. I think people are either Googling it as we speak or.
If it's do you know what? I'm only connecting this off the United and Arsenal. If the Arsenal wasn't there, I wouldn't have got this. And I'm sure because he had an absolute stinker when he went to Arsenal. Is it? Do you want me to say it or?
What area of the pitch do you think he is?
Defender.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Go on.
Sylvester.
Yeah. Sylvester.
Yeah.
People struggle with that.
He went to Arsenal and I'm sure he got like sent off in one of his first games and that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was terrible.
But it was Inter Milan one. I was like, well, where the fuck's my thing gone? So 1 second. Discord's just gone off for whatever reason. Oh, my camera's died. Oh shit. 1 second, people.
Nightmare.
Fucking hell. 1 second. I have got a secondary camera here. Just give me a moment. I'll put the other up on the screen. Give me a minute. Let me just pop that away.
The comments.
Yeah, and there is another one there for you on the screen. So I don't know what the first club is. You've got Villarreal to Wigan Athletic to United, and then again there's a couple of other clubs there. Aaron probably knows this one, but let me know if you know it, and I'm gonna get the second camera now.
Yeah, I do feel like I know this one.
Oh no, where's the USB? Shit. Sorry, people. Just give me 1 moment. Fucking nightmare when this happened. Imagine spending £1,000 on a camera for it to fucking die every time you go live. Jesus Christ, man.
I reckon I've got it. I reckon it's like. I'm looking at it and thinking, oh, is it obvious? But then it's the Villarreal that's throwing me off as well.
Yeah, Villarreal. Again, I didn't know. I got to double check that because I'm sure he didn't play for him.
Because I'm thinking straight away the one player obviously that we signed from Wigan. I can't really think of anyone else. But did he play for Villarreal?
That is the big question. Right, I've got my camera on now. Sorry, people, about that. Let me just pull it up. I'm out of breath. Hopefully that's all right. There we go.
Yeah,
Right.
it looks all right on my end.
Apologies about that. Yeah, any guesses at all, people in the chat? It's not Nick Powell, Dino. It is not Nick Powell.
Oh, he went the other way.
Yes,
sure,
correct.
He went from United to Wigan. I think I know the answer, but obviously I'll sit on it a little bit.
Right, I'm just going to edit this thing because you can see my green screen. There we go there. Right, that'll do, I think, for now. That's why you have a backup camera, people. And then we can lock that. Sorted. Yeah, any guesses, people, in the chat? Let me know. And again, let me just double check this because Villarreal is a curveball. And I cannot remember this guy playing for Villarreal. It'll be the person you're thinking of, I think, Aaron, but let me just double check.
That then, I don't even remember him before Wigan, so he's like, he could have for all I know.
Let me have a look. Yeah, definitely played for Villarreal, but 2 appearances for Villarreal.
Ah, right, okay.
So, yeah, it's probably why it's throwing quite a lot of people off, to be fair. No, not Nick Powell. It's not Nick Powell. Do you want to give it a guess, Aaron?
Antonio Valencia.
Correct. Yeah, it's Antonio.
Yeah, that's
Antonio.
That's the only one I could think of from Wigan to United, to be honest. And then the next 2 clubs I didn't recognise, and I know that he went back playing in Ecuador, didn't he? So I thought, got to be him.
Yeah. Antonio Valencia. Sorry, let me bring this up here. Because again, the camera's a bit. Yeah, that's better. Right, let me take this down, and we'll get the next one up. This one, is it? Nope, just put that one on. This one. There we go. This one's a bit easier, I'd probably say. Some big clues in there, if you can see it on the screen. Yeah, great shout. It's Sam got it with Valencia, so well done to it, Sam. Smashed it. Who is this player? So, from, again, I think it's a South American team, to Man United, to Madrid, to Bayer Leverkusen, to West Ham, to Sevilla, and then to LA Galaxy. Who is this former Man United player? Yeah,
I got that straight away.
Yeah, you know that? Again, this is probably the easiest one out of the bunch, I think. Yeah. A lot of people getting it. Friday? I don't know why Lucas sings, but Friday. It's Sam put Chicharito. Yeah. Javier, you knew that, innit? Yeah. You knew it was Javier Hernandez. Yeah, for sure. Nice, easy one there.
I'm sure now he's back at the club that he started at.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gone like full circle now.
Yeah, I think he is. I think you're right. Right, let's pop that down. Next up, for only 4 clubs. Again, this is a slightly easier one, but only 4 clubs. Who is this player? So from, I think it's Stadia, fucking hell, I can't remember the second part of it. Stadia something, to Everton, to Man United, to, I'm not going to say what the last club is because it'll probably give it away. Again, do you know this one?
Yeah, of course I know who this is.
Yeah, Mourinho. I played under Mourinho. Come on, most people should get this in the chat. I'll give you a bit of time, and then I'll let Aaron give the answer for it. I heard someone the other day say he was a better striker than Lukaku. There was like controversial opinion thing, and someone said he was a better striker, and he weren't a striker. But you'll know exactly what I mean. We mentioned the player. I
do definitely think he's not as bad as what people made out. United.
No, I agree.
He was important in some games, and
yeah,
that season where we won Europa, like under Mourinho, he was vital. He scored some vital goals in the running in Europa and in the cup as well.
Yeah, it was the Champions League. Was it Young Boys where he scored that last minute goal? I think. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah. I was going to say we scored it, but it will just give it away to you.
Yeah. Anyone in the chat? Dino Lewis has got it. Who is it, Aaron?
Big Marwan.
Marwan Fellaini, of course it is. Because the last club is a club in China. Again, can't remember the name of it. But yeah, only 4 clubs in his career for Marwan Fellaini. Interesting. Right, the last one we have. I can't remember which one this one was. Oh, yeah. Again, another... You probably get this. United to Dortmund to Sunderland, to Real Sociedad, to Sevilla, to Istanbul. Who is this former United player? You know it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you'd get that straight away. You're quite good with the players with the period. I don't know why. From like, I want to say maybe like 2008 to 2015. I feel like you're very good with players. I'm very good with like remembering things.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, but that's like our
Childhood, isn't it? Or like our main years, should I say?
Yeah, that's it. Like, I remember the rivalry against Arsenal and that, but I only have certain memories. But from like 06, 07 onwards, obviously, is when we was going through school, and that's, that was like what we grew up on.
Yeah. I was saying this about, because obviously they announced the 99 treble, didn't they? The documentary that they're doing on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And I said, like, obviously I love the treble. I love what it kind of signifies and how epic it was. But in reality, we was four. Yeah, we was 4 or 5 years old at the time, so we didn't really go through it. We could always watch clips back and appreciate it. But more for me, and I'm sure more for yourself as well, Aaron, it was like in Moscow when we won the Champions League final, in the AIG kit with Ronaldo, Tevez, Rooney. That was more what I have an affiliation with rather than the 99 treble.
Yeah, I'm definitely the same. Like, I don't really remember the treble. Like, I remember I used to have the shirt and that. I remember having parts of it, but at the game, I don't remember like watching the game. I don't know if I did stay up and watch it. You know what I mean? It's like, but the 08 final, I remember that. Like,
my brother told me a story when my dad was in the flats, when he was living in flats in, Salford Precinct, high-rise flats.
Yeah.
He used to live, I know, God bless his soul. He used to live in there, and when United won the treble, I was like a young, obviously, kid. He chucked me up, and my head smashed off the ceiling when we won it. So maybe that,
probably why tells. You don't remember it.
Yeah, probably why I don't remember it. It's a very good point. Aaron, who is it?
Januzaj.
That's the one. Adnan Januzaj. I think I've gone through them all there, haven't I? Did I do this one yet? Silvestre, Antonio Valencia, Chicharito, Marouane Fellaini, and then we had Adnan Januzaj. That was quite fun, that. We're going to do more.
Did anyone get that one in the chat?
Yeah, a couple of people. So it's Sam got it. Dino Lewis says Adnan Januzaj. Sorry for the spelling. He's all right. You're not the only one, mate. Yeah, to be fair, people are quite on the ball. I'm going to have to start really going like niche with it and getting like fucking young players who have played like 3 games or something and they've got the maddest career.
Like Cleberson or someone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll have to go down that route. But yeah, that was fun and a fun afternoon show, which I always appreciate everyone tuning in. Like I said, we're on 4,760 subs at the minute. So we're 40 subscribers off 4,800, trying to hit 5K within the next month or so. So really appreciate if you do subscribe to this, whether you're watching live or if you're watching it later on. We're going to be live later with a new show. We're also filming the Coventry preview. I'm not sure when that's going out, to be fair. I don't know if that's later on today or tomorrow, probably. It's going to be. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. There's a members video dropping towards the end of the week as well. You've got the game on the weekend in the semi-final. Loads of shit popping off. So make sure you turn on that notification bell so you don't miss it when we do actually go live. And also a big thank you to Aaron as well for coming on. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. It's not usually like that'll come on in the daytime. So
I know. Nice little surprise. Yeah, absolutely. Should do more of it. Right, take it easy, people. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you for tuning in and have a wonderful